Hi, everyone. My name is Sophia Kaminsky, and I'm a Client Success Manager at ClickUp. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to attend our joint ClickUp and Hubstaff webinar today. It's really great to see so many people in attendance. We have about 40 people or so on thus far, and I'm sure we'll see many more join as we go. We'd love to hear where you're all joining us from as well. So feel free to send us a quick note in the Zoom chat menu to let us know where you're joining us from. So today's webinar will be focused around how you can utilize Hubstaff and ClickUp to reinforce remote productivity. I'm sure that all of you are dealing with at least some professional changes right now, and in general, communication that used to be face-to-face is now online. It can be difficult to know what's going on in your company and track what people are working on, as well as what's actually getting done. So today we're joined by the CEOs of ClickUp and Hubstaff to take some time to explain how these platforms can help. And we'll also leave plenty of time at the end for your questions. So just a quick housekeeping note about that. If you do have questions that you'd like to refer to us, please send those in via the Zoom Q&A tab. We have several customer support reps from ClickUp here to assist with those questions throughout the webinar, but at the end, we'll be taking a look at those to answer some questions live. And feel free to use the chat as a way to just speak internally amongst yourselves. So yeah, with that, I will pass this over to Zeb Evans, who is our CEO here at ClickUp.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. As Sophia mentioned, we'll be touching a little bit on how ClickUp can kind of conglomerate all of your separate workplace tools together in one tool, so that your team can work together in one platform. It's been phenomenally well with remote work. If you're just making the transition to remote work, we'd love to give you some tools and tricks to do so. And we'll jump into a little bit of the demo shortly, as well as obviously the big feature today is talking about the Hubstaff integration and also the Hubstaff platform for managing more advanced workload and time tracking with an integration with ClickUp. And so with that, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Dave, who is the CEO of Hubstaff. And Dave, if you'd like to say hello and give a summary of Hubstaff.
Yeah, so thank you. Appreciate it. Nice to be here. You know, I've been leading Hubstaff now for like 8 years now. I've always had a remote team. I started off my own business like back in 2004 timeframe. Started with remote, kind of have been that way ever since. So you know, I had a lot of pain points along the way, and a lot of that is kind of built into the Hubstaff product now. We've kind of evolved over the years. We started in 2012 timeframe, so evolved over the years into more of a complete like workforce management platform, timesheet approvals, different time trackers for mobile and for Apple and Windows and Linux and all these different platforms people work on. PTO management, a lot more invoicing. But we help companies really streamline their business. Many remote companies and small businesses, they spend a lot of time with invoicing and figuring out how much they need to pay their people and that kind of thing. So we really help to kind of automate that. And we have about 60 people at Hubstaff working. And we are a remote company, people all over the world working at Hubstaff. And we are passionate about remote work. So happy to be here today and thankful that you had me.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dave. So the first piece of this segment is I'm just going to jump into ClickUp and we'll kind of touch at a high level kind of what ClickUp does and as far as work management goes and remote work. And then we'll chat more about Hubstaff, obviously, and the integrations that we share together. All right, so here's kind of ClickUp set up at a pretty basic level. In general, ClickUp, it's made up of several different components. Tasks, which you have lists for, so I can create tasks to assign people to do anything that's needed. This is kind of your standard basic task management, project management stuff. But where kind of the real beauty in ClickUp is into our views. And we've got lots of content out there about how to use our views very effectively, especially for remote work. But at a high level, you can bring other things that traditionally are not in project management. Things like your notes or your clients within one platform, right? So you can add docs, you can add tasks. We also have goal tracking. So if you want to touch on your high level goals or your OKRs or objectives, that's a really cool feature that you can use within ClickUp. Some remote work things that I just want to touch on are something we call Pulse. And so Pulse is just showing what people are working on and who's online, who's offline, when people have been working and what they were doing. When you start working on things within ClickUp, you'll see those tasks or docs trending here, just to keep everybody aligned, because it's really hard working remotely in some ways and not really knowing exactly what everybody else is working on. Even if you do a daily summary, you maybe be interested in what is somebody working on right now? Maybe I could help them with this, or can I grab them for a few minutes for my own meeting? We also have dashboards, which are pretty cool inside of ClickUp, and we'll show you some of those in our own staging environment. Things like resource management and notes. We have a QA metrics dashboard here that really just gives us high level everything going on inside of our company. This stuff is, again, the attention is just being able to put all of your work in one place. We do have a ton of workload and time tracking integrations, and Hubstaff probably is the most robust one. So for kind of all of the work stuff for keeping everything in one place is here. And then what we don't do is the very advanced time tracking workload, especially invoicing and that type of budgeting stuff that I know Hubstaff is really great at. So that's kind of a high level in ClickUp, and I'll let Dave jump into Hubstaff and kind of how that connects with ClickUp.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm going to share my screen here. We should be sharing now. Got it? So basically, what I'm going to start with is inside of ClickUp, and basically what happens here is that our kind of projects, your ClickUp's basically workspaces link into what we call projects. So that can happen automatically, or it does happen automatically. So you start a project here, it automatically syncs up into a project into Hubstaff, and then basically, the tasks in ClickUp sync automatically with the tasks in Hubstaff. So you can see kind of side by side, these all link up. Now, those only link up to my tracker if I'm actually assigned as the person to be working on that task. So I used to have a little picture here, but these are my tasks. So these three right here are assigned to me. So that's why you can only see these three right here assigned to this project overall. So I can start tracking time to any real task that I choose. I can mark them complete. I can add different things. I can see the descriptions follow through and that kind of thing. Now, and it's important to note that basically, especially from a remote work standpoint, that basically the people can only really see what they're assigned to. And that's important because a lot of times remote teams are working all over the world. And basically one of the important parts of remote work is actually, I would say, condensing what somebody sees in terms of what they should be working on. So prioritization is very important, and the ability to communicate very easily with your team. So we can help by basically very clearly defining what somebody's role is and what the tasks are they should be doing and at any given time. So anyway, that's a long way of saying when somebody's assigned here, that's when it gets filtered over and I can see those items. So I can track time to those items. And then basically within ClickUp, it filters back in, and I can see that basically time has been tracked to these various items, and this is all in Hubstaff. This is Hubstaff time that was tracked, and we put those back into the form of basically comments here or activity. So you can see when I've tracked time and how much time that was. So that's how we integrate back into ClickUp. Now within Hubstaff, I wanted to show briefly what the extra information is that you get by tracking to, with our tracker. So you can see here now these features are all optional. So it's kind of like you can turn everything on and off on a per user basis. But you can see here, I can see the screenshots of the work being done. You can see a very detailed breakdown of your day. So, here I was kind of looking through ClickUp and, multi-monitor support, that kind of thing. So you can see the actual work unfold in front of your eyes. And I give the example lots of times of the design of a website being designed. So a manager somewhere in, say, California has a web designer somewhere over, let's say in Portugal, and web designer in Portugal is designing a website. The person in California can see this. They're usually not in the same time zone, but they want to see the work being done. So they can actually see that work unfold right in front of their eyes, like that person was kind of in the same office, but we're not, obviously. So that's an example of a place where this would be used. You can see applications being used. So this is used lots of times by people that have, say, like a call center, where they're, you would expect certain things, or you've got a designer again, you would expect certain applications to be used, Photoshop, Sketch, that kind of thing, and you're, in something different, or, you're in those programs, you can see very easily what those, what that data is. So you can do a lot of analysis amongst your team and amongst your division, for how people work and get deeper understandings about those kind of things. There's also a lot of budgetary. So you remember I said that basically, we kind of sync up the projects from the workspaces from ClickUp, and you can see that here, you can see some spent and cost data. You can edit based on total cost, total hours. So when those hours, the way this is calculated is obviously through bill rate or pay rate. So as those things add up and people work, your team works, we can easily tell you how much of that budget has been spent. These can be client budgets, project budgets, that kind of thing. And basically we can tell you, you can get notified when a budget's coming up. And like I said, you can do by total hours. So you can say, okay, I'll give this client, 20 hours per week or 20 hours per month or whatever, 40 hours per month. And this client, so a lot of that work is done for you versus the manual process of trying to figure all of that out. So again, very streamlined, focused on helping small business owners get work done faster and easier, so they can focus on growth, not admin stuff. So then, let's go a little bit deeper here into Hubstaff and kind of show at a higher level what we do outside the integration. So all of that stuff is really the integration focused stuff. And then, Hubstaff as a whole, in terms of remote work and understanding that stuff, this is, a dashboard that will show you kind of at a bird's eye view, what different people are doing, different projects, where your projects are at regarding budget. It'll, give you quick access to screenshots and that kind of thing. It will show you basically, this is a map. So we have mobile tracking, GPS tracking. So you have a job site somewhere in, say, I don't know where this is, but somewhere over in, looks like Washington or Oregon, right? So you've got a job site. People can automatically be clocked in, clocked out as they enter and exit job sites. So that's more for field service teams. But that does exist and is a large need for remote teams. We focus on teams that are remote. So it's not all of that is in front of the desk. A lot of that is done with teams on the go, and teams that are basically in the field service industries like landscaping and construction, where they need to understand more about the job site and how much time is being spent on job sites, how much time is being spent by salespeople going to visit their customers, how much time is being spent on the customer job site, so we can do all that work for you. If you look, basically, what we deliver a lot of this information to your email box, so you don't have to track that down. So we do have that as well. These are basically our timesheets. This is the weekly view of a timesheet, so you can see basically how much time was spent on a weekly view, how by the day. Daily, you can get very in depth, so you can basically see the projects. You can obviously move, you can add time, so this is your daily basic timesheet. We have basically timesheet approval. So after this can go to management. So the managers of a team can get notified when a timesheet's ready for approval, and you can basically go in and approve that timesheet, and then you can go through and easily pay that timesheet when when the time is right, or you can do that automatically as well. With Hubstaff, there is weekly budget, so you can say, I want to let this person work 40 hours a week, this person 25 hours a week. So we've got all that. You can see the bill rate, pay rate. The bill rate and pay rate are important because a lot of people will set invoices up on the bill rate, but then they understand how much per hour somebody's getting paid. So there can be a baked in profit there. So this is an example of something where there's a guaranteed 30% margin very much there. And a lot of people work like that so that it's easier to just, again, streamline all of that, not to do all that math after the fact. I'll show you an example of that. A lot of people use our clients ability. So you can see here, like I made up a client, ClickUp agency, and basically, again, you could do it by hours or cost, but then you can easily then go and invoice for that client. So you can say new invoice to ClickUp agency based on, let's see here, the date range. Where's the date range at? Let's see here, due date, generate line items. There we go. Date range of the last 3 days, let's say, and I want to invoice them, and all projects. Let's just do the project. Let's just do this one here, the one that's integrated. Well, let's do them all. So you can see it quickly it quickly creates all those line items, so you can see what it is, what the amounts are, and then gives you the total amount for that. And then you can save and send, or you can save it for later, whatever you want to do there. But the point is that based on the time spent, it quickly invoices or quickly generates those amounts, so it's really easy to kind of operate. And then basically, there we have a lot of reports. So you can see here, I did a report for the integrated project, and you can see by date, who spent the time, how much their activity rate was, that kind of thing. And then finally, here's a weekly view of the report. So you can then you can send these to clients, you can download, you can export, and then kind of, a lot of people work in Excel after the fact. So they take some of the data that we do, and then they will basically send this over to their clients so they can see if they want to invoice manually or that kind of thing. So that's kind of a large overview of Hubstaff. We do have projects and to-dos as well, simple to-dos. So you can see basically, you can create a task, that kind of thing. This is very simple. We have expenses. So there's some other things I didn't go over, but that's the bulk of kind of how a remote team uses Hubstaff. And let me know if you have any questions. We'll go from there.
Great. Thank you so much, Zeb and Dave. That was very interesting and informative. We do have some questions that have come in the Zoom Q&A tab, so it would be great if you could both take a moment to answer a few of those.
Sure. just looking here. So
yeah, one of the ones I see, I guess that would be more ClickUp related. The question was from Stephanie, curious if there's a way to track time based on a client instead of each task. If possible, need to know how ClickUp would need to be configured to accomplish this. So the workaround for that would just be creating a list for your clients, and that's what we recommend usually is you have a list and each task is a client, and then you can track time towards that task, which becomes your client. We do have some new features coming out in the very near future, namely relationships and list info that should help a little bit with that, but that's kind of the best solution we have right now.
And I see one here that says about running a blank project all day for time work for paying contractors. I think you could integrate in, this was asked by Gabriel, it looks like. I think you could integrate in if you're tracking a blank project, you might as well just use the integration, and then have your people track time to the individual tasks, the ClickUp tasks that are integrated, because you'll still get the ClickUp reports that you say are better for performance review. So you'll still get those ClickUp reports, but you'll also get the Hubstaff reports, and it doesn't cost any. It's going to be a free. It doesn't cost anything for you to do that. So I would imagine, and also I think it would make your time tracking more accurate, and you'll get a lot more data that way in the Hubstaff reports, probably, and the ClickUp reports, as your people are tracking time to the individual tasks they should be tracking. So that would be what I'd say, I guess. But it looks like you're tracking time. I'm not quite sure if you're using both time tracking, so I'm not quite sure how that answers your question, but that would be my advice, I guess. This says cool proximity, clock in, clock out. Thank you. That's used mostly for, like I said, field services, but it is very useful for construction, landscaping, field service teams, sales. Zeb, it looks like you have one here about ClickUp certification showcase. I'm not sure about that, but that looks like all the questions there.
Where's the question for the
very last one? The very last one, 4:16 p.m.
So the question, Zeb, is there a ClickUp certification program to prove that you're knowledgeable about the software?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we have our partners program that I believe it's clickup.com/ you know the URL, Sophia?
I do not off the top of my head, but I can look into that.
Yeah, I think if you Google ClickUp Consultants, you'll be able to find it. Let's see. Yeah, just Google ClickUp Consultants, and it's clickup.com/consultants. And there's a call to action button there that says become a consultant. And by becoming a consultant, we'll vet you a little bit, and then you'll be featured on our consultants page and be an official partner, and it comes with some perks along with a private Slack workspace that you can join.
There are a few more questions in here in the open tab of the Q&A box. One that would be good to answer for ClickUp is from Carlos. He asks, is there a way to group some tasks and milestones so that time could be a sum on the milestone?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't think that you can see the sum of it. You certainly can link them. You can relate them to the milestone. With our upcoming relationships feature, you'll be able to do that more in depth, and then you can roll up the time to that task. But I'd have to talk with the product team about whether or not that would show in like the dedicated time tracking section, or if it would be rolled up in a separate place. That's a good question, though. We can get back to that.
And I just see a bunch more in the QA section, so I'll get to these here. There's a bunch of questions in here that I did not see. All right, so can we prevent team members from seeing financials? Yes, you can do all that through permissions. You can do everything through permissions, basically, regarding that. Only owners can see financials. and the team members will be able to see, you have managers, you have owners, you have basically the users. So, all three levels, they can see different aspects of financials in Hubstaff. So you can definitely prevent that. You can prevent the client from seeing all that as well, obviously. How affordable is it to pay staff contractors using PayPal with only one? PayPal is pretty affordable. We also have an integration with TransferWise. So basically that's not, it's actually very affordable. It's hard to answer that because I don't know exactly where they're at, and the price varies. I will say that TransferWise has shown to be much more affordable, especially transferring to Europe. But overall, TransferWise seems a little bit less expensive. Some people think PayPal is a little more common, I guess. But I would look into TransferWise, and it's usually like 2%. I'll just give that number. TransferWise is less than that. So that's an estimate of what it is. And Hubstaff doesn't collect any of that, just so you know. That doesn't cost anything on Hubstaff. That is all PayPal fees. So that's just what PayPal charges you. And it, like I said, it does vary. So it's a hard one to answer, but that's a roundabout estimate for that. I think Gabriel's one is to. I'm gonna do that one in a minute here. Who's considered a user in Hubstaff account? All employees. That is basically the employees for the most part. But obviously you can do managers as well. So that is typically an employee. We do have clients, and we have viewers, and we have managers and owners. So basically all of those different levels are different, but yes, for the most part, a user is considered an employee. We do have integrations for payroll. You can automate it using TransferWise, PayPal, Bitwage, and we are coming out with Stripe and ADP. So all of those different integrations. We also have Gusto. So those are different integrations we have for payroll currently. Specifically, paying using PayPal to the Philippines. Don't know what that. You can definitely do that. Now you can pay PayPal to the Philippines. Yes. Can you do partial invoices like milestone invoices or monthly without the project fee? Yes, you can do all of that. There's filters in the invoices, so you can say per user. You can say per for a date range. You don't have to say all of the project at all. Yes, that is accurate. You can filter. We don't have like exact milestones, so you can't say milestone 1, 2, and 3, and then only invoice for milestone 1. But you can say based on date range, based on user, and a few other items. Is there a way to use workload feature of ClickUp just recently launched? I don't know that one. I'll leave that one for Zeb.
What was the question?
Is there a way to use the workload feature of ClickUp just recently launched, integrated with Hubstaff? I would say if it's a project or a workspace or a task, you can use it. But I'm not sure you'd be able to see anything in Hubstaff with it.
Yeah, so right now the workload feature is more based on your capacity rather than what you've done as far as time tracked out of capacity. So you can't currently see time tracked in a workload, but that is a feature that we've been heavily requested, and I think will be out in the next month or two.
Okay, Carlos Leon says, is there a way to sync Hubstaff budgets with ClickUp? We do not sync over budgets, but our functionality does not have that quite yet. We don't have the ability to sync budgets through currently. And I realize ClickUp does have that as well, and it unfortunately does not sync. We do sync users. We sync users and projects and or workspaces and tasks, and then time syncs back to ClickUp, and that's the extent of the integration currently. PayPal is 2.9%. Yes. Okay. Thank you. PayPal is 2.9% plus 30 cents domestic USA, and that is the complexity there is that our API with them, our integration with them uses their mass payment option. So it's not exactly it's different than that. Generally, it's actually the employer that pays the fees with our integration because we use the mass pay functionality. So it's a little different than what the fees typically are, but I'll look into that a little further and get that exact kind of like, we do have charts and things like that on the website, but it's just, there's so many countries that add complexity there. So let's see here. We do have a comparison chart. I don't know the exact URL of that. I will say you're saying you're using Deputy for clock in, clock out. Deputy is quite different than Hubstaff. Deputy is, I'd say, based primarily for like, as far as I understand it, at least like offices more, like where you're actually clocking in, clocking out using a physical device. And, you know, Hubstaff is based on all either mobile or computer usage. So it's a little bit different, but I will try to get that URL and we can share that out soon there. So let's see here. Is Zero on the Hubstaff integration plan? Yes, Zero is. Zero doesn't have a concept of time, so it's a little bit difficult for us to integrate with them because that's what our application, that's what we use. They don't have. It's a little bit different. We're working with them right now to try to find a way to integrate effectively. I'll put it like that. But it's a little bit. It's proving difficult to find a way because they don't really have the projects the way that we, you know, view them in our world. Let's see here. Partial invoices, yes, did that one. Third-party time tracker comment, but we didn't use information until that. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one off the top. Can we use Hubstaff and pay through Payoneer? Yes, we have a Payoneer integration as well. Yes, so you can use Hubstaff and pay through Payoneer automatically. Payoneer works that integration works very nicely, and it happens automatically. And you can also do it manually if you prefer, either way. So I think that really answers most of the questions here, if not all.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to answer some questions, Dave and Zeb. So for anyone that would be interested in rewatching this webinar at a later time, you'll get the recording of this once it's been processed, and we will also be posting it on our website. So you can find it if you go to clickup.com/webinars, you'll be able to rewatch this or share it with others. And if you're interested in learning more about ClickUp, you can reach out to our support team via email at help@clickup.com. Dave, is there anything you'd like to share regarding learning more about Hubstaff?
Yeah, we just have, you know, free trial, typical free trial, and we'd love to have you check out Hubstaff and for your remote team needs. And you know, we've had great success with a lot of different clients, and so appreciate the opportunity to share Hubstaff and have a good day.
Likewise, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of the week.
Take care. Bye.